Make sure you guys got out a couple sheets of paper. You okay, man?
It's good. Yes.
France to all the high flyers. Mr. England, you killed that. Jesus. All right, you guys. Steph, how about a couple sheets of paper? All right, so I need you guys to kind of follow along with me real quick. So let's go to.
Okay, you see where it says host?
Let's go ahead and go to the classroom. All right, so I need all you guys to do is to go back to CTLS, go to your digital sessions, and go to today's digital session, please.
All right.
The first thing I want to show you guys too is that what I am noticing is that the video recordings, unfortunately, is not going to like the resource tab over here. But if you like, click on Monday session right here, go to lesson resources. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not showing up the way that I set it up to, but this is where it's going. So let's make it work. All right. Let's go to digital source sessions. Let's go to today's digital session.
All right.
Today is the 8th. Oh, no, today's not the 8th. Today's the 10th. My bad.
Just two.
Today's the 10th. Tomorrow's the 11th.
All right. Now click on it.
All right. So go ahead and go there. All right. So we got a couple things I got here for you guys. So my first block, make sure everybody's hearing me on this. First block, we went through the Cliff Notes. And what we did was what, so what, now what? This is an instructional strategy. What you do here, you say for the what are the facts, what information can be gathered? The so what does it mean as far as those facts? And then the now what should you do with those facts? What should be the next steps? And we did that based off the Cliff Notes. Y'all, I made some really detailed Cliff Notes here for you guys that covers literally everything in the class. So that's going to be really helpful for you. Make sure I have videos in here if you need to watch. I got pictures. Whatever you need to make it to where you guys can understand it is here for you. You guys with me so far? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing that you have here is going to be the things to know. Your Unit 2 test is mostly going to be Unit 2. It's also cover some Unit 1 stuff. So what I need you guys to do is open up the things to know unit 2. So go ahead and click on this tab here on your computer screens. You might need some paper or you just type on the computer screen, okay? All right. So when you open up the things to know, this is what's going to come up. The first thing you're going to have here is your standards. So when you're looking at your standards, these are how you use this to help study. Okay. What you got to do here is let me take off my pictures. I'm not eating no more. When you guys are studying, you got to look at the nouns. Okay. So the nouns be Articles of Confederation, Northwest Ordinance, ordinance, public education. So it'd be all the person, places, or things. Those are the things you should be able to say you know. You scroll down more on the things to know, you don't have your key vocabulary. You should know what the rebellion is, Northwest Ordinance, the Great Compromise, 3/5 Compromise, etc. All these vocabulary words. What we're gonna be doing, I'll be calling you guys, so you need to touch your cameras on, is I'm gonna call you to answer a question here, and you need to be able to answer the question. You guys can write it down on document that you open, or you write on your piece of paper. But we're gonna go through all about 20 or 30 questions here to prepare you guys for the the unit 2 test. All right. So it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna give you guys about 2 minutes to get yourself situated. I'm gonna be calling you by name. Make sure you have your cameras on and be able to answer these questions. If you get the question wrong, that's cool. That's 100. I'm gonna help you get the question right. Is everybody got me there? So
over here.
give you about another minute and a half and you get started.
And then drag from left to right.
Standard form?
Can y'all mute yourselves?
All right, so right now y'all getting yourselves ready to answer these questions. This is gonna be recorded. If you need to go back in this. Are you taking a test? Ask your teacher what's standard form. Say excuse me, ask the teacher.
Dr. Tidwell,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to log in on a different device for my webcam.
Say that again, please.
I don't have a webcam on my computer, so I'm gonna have to join on a different device.
That's fine. You can write on wherever you feel the most comfortable. It's fine. I just wanted you, for people that want to write, they can have it there. For people that want to type it up, they can have it there. It's wherever makes you feel most comfortable, bro. All right, guys, let's start reviewing. All right, so have your cameras on. I want to see y'all beautiful faces. If you feel comfortable with that, I'll be so appreciated. All right, number 52. Let me get, so this is what I want y'all to do. Do not read the question. I'm gonna give you an example. You're gonna rephrase the question as a statement. So number 52B, the Articles of Confederation was the first form of government in the United States. Is there? I just rephrase the question into a statement. So number 52 says, what was the Articles of Confederation? This would be how I'll respond. Okay, Dr. Tidwell says, hey, Wiley, you go for number 52, okay? The Articles of Confederation was the first form of government in the United States. Make sure you speak up. Make sure you speak to where everybody can hear you. Let's go. Number 53, Eric.
The articles gave more power to the local government.
There you go. Good job. All right. Austin, number 54.
Wait, I'm supposed to read the question?
No. What you're doing,
Oh,
you're rephrasing the question in a statement. So I'm gonna give you well, the land ordinance of 1785 was influenced the addition of new states by, you finish the statement.
okay.
Mute
Was
yourselves if you're
influenced
not
by
talking. Go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry.
was influenced by new states. Like those of
So what was your answer? What did the land ordinance of 1785 do?
it was
If you don't have it, that's fine. We're gonna make sure
yeah, I don't have it.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, y'all, start Googling. I'm just being honest. Start Googling while y'all doing this. All right. So I'm gonna come back to you, Austin. Carlos, what you got for the land ordinance of 1785, number 54? Also, go to my blog where you had those cliff notes. Carlos, you with us, man? Does anybody have the Northwest Ordinance? Excuse me, the land ordinance of 1785.
I can do it.
Go ahead.
So it's set up a way that people could go west and get land and farmland and stuff and just settle out west and buy land from the government.
Okay, so it basically set up how we could buy land from the government, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So again, if you guys are not talking to me, go ahead and mute yourselves. I'm gonna cut down the background noise. All right, number 56. Let me get Mr. Carter, Trenton Carter.
Shay's rebellion showed the weakness of
56,
the article.
56.
Oh, what did the Northwest? They made all schools public.
What made all schools public? Give me the complete sentence.
The
Northwest Ordinance.
The Northwest Ordinance made all schools public for children.
There you go. And it also helped as far as with people moving west as far as migration. All right. Sunday, let me get number 57.
It showed that they didn't have like a strong army to, I don't know.
Give me the complete sentence. What is the, give me the noun.
Okay. Shay's rebellion exemplified the weakness of the AOC because it highlighted the fact that the Articles of Confederation didn't have a strong federal government.
It did not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, number 58. Let me get Luke.
Number 58.
Yeah.
The Constitution was created to give government the power to act on a national level, but also not going against any regular rights people should have.
Good job. All right, number 59. Let me get Dana. Let me get you, Dana, on number 59. What was the great compromise and how did it meet the wants of each side? Dana, you still here with us? Okay. Daniel, can you help us out with number 59?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm sorry.
Okay, wait. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay, so the Great Compromise was like an agreement that everybody came to at the convention of 1787.
And what did the agreement? What were they agreeing on? I'm sorry, you guys. My dog is hungry.
To define the legislative structure that each state
Yes,
is given.
that's it. There you go. All right, good job, you guys. Let's keep going. All right, Daniel, I'm still gonna come back to you. What was the Three-Fifths Compromise, and how did it please Northerners?
It pleased
And remember,
Northern.
give me complete sentences with the nouns, y'all. Complete sentences with the nouns.
The Three-Fifths Compromise pleased Northerners because slaves in the North got 3/5 of taxes to them, and it made Northerners pleased because of it.
So I'm gonna clean you up. You're not fully wrong. The Three-Fifths Compromise counted for. Okay, let me go to. The Three-Fifths Compromise was a case where you talk about the southern states, where they counted for every 5 slaves in the South, 3 were counted. Make sense now?
Yeah, I get that.
Now, and what it did, it helped the it helped the North because now they helped them kind of keep the balance because they didn't want all the slaves to be counted because then they'd be out counted or they wouldn't be able to have so many. Make sense?
Hmm.
Okay. I think I skipped number 55 looking at my notes. So let me get Theodore. Can you give me number 55, please?
So the Northwest Ordinance established the states of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, those states, and it led to the slave
What happened with
ban slavery.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Say the slave question again, bro.
It led to the slave question because the Northwest Ordinance required that states that joined the Union to be to ban slavery.
There you go. Cool. So now number 61. Let me get Roberts. Let me get number 61 from Roberts.
You said 61.
Yes, ma'am.
Limited government appeals to the anti-federalists because they don't want a strong leader like a king.
Perfect answer. Number 62. Let me get that from John.
The Federalists wanted a strong central government, and the Anti-Federalists did not.
There you go. Y'all are rocking it. I appreciate you guys. All right. That was, you did 61, right, John?
Yeah.
Can you go ahead
No,
and go
I
into...
did 62.
Okay. All right. Now, number 63, since we talk about the play Hamilton, let me get number 63 from Guta. Let me get that from Guta. Number 63.
I'm not completely sure on this, but did he make the first national bank, or Hamilton established the first national bank because he believed it was necessary to stabilize and improve the nation's credit?
That's perfect. So you answered number 63, good for us. Number 64, let me get that from Given.
The anti-federalists wish to not have the treasury because...
Can you speak a little bit louder? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, I said the anti-federalists wish to not have the treasury because not so sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Thanks for giving us. Thanks for trying. So anti-fair, they didn't want a treasury because they feel like it would be too much power given to the government. Everybody got me there?
I'm not sure.
Did everybody hear me with that? They feel like the treasury would give the federal government too much power.
All right.
Cool. All right. What were the Federalist Papers, Ms. Brown? Arabelle.
They were a series of essays written to promote the Constitution.
Okay, thank you. It's right on that one. Good job. Number, Mr. Parker, number 66.
66.
Yeah.
Anti-federalists were fearful of large government because they just got out of the British government, which unfairly taxed them, and they had PTSD from a government like that.
Perfect. Good job, dude. All right. Number 67. Let me get that from Mr. England.
The Bill of Rights protected citizens by guaranteeing them basic rights that the government should not infringe, and it created a compromise between Federalists and Anti-Federalists because, in theory, the Bill of Rights should ensure that the central government will not become tyrannical.
Good job, you guys. That's standard 5. Give yourselves a pat on the back. We got through one standard. We got 2 more to go. Stretch out a little bit because I'm going right into number 68. Get another second stretch. Number 68. Trent, bro, you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay. You got 68 for us?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what is the question asking?
How did George Washington set the president for presidency of the United States? So he's the first president, right?
Yeah.
How did he set the example of what the president should be?
I mean, he had to be a leader because he was the first leader of the U.S. after they had just become independent. So.
And also he kind of said like what jobs and roles would be, how long you in office. Those are all some of the presidents that he set. Everybody got me on that one? He had a cabinet. He established a cabinet. He used the Constitution as a guideline saying what rules he could and could not do. He established his treasury with Hamilton. About how foreign policies and things like that will work as well. Those are all the things that George Washington did. Got me there?
Yeah, I got you. Mr. Towell.
Huh?
I'm gonna have to go. I just
Okay,
wanted
man.
to let you know. All right, see ya.
Thanks, man. All right, no problem. Number 69. Hack. What you got for number 69?
Did you call me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
George Washington's farewell address and his warning was that to stay away from two-party systems because they're going to lead to bad things.
Got that right. Okay. What's the other warning though? He had 2 major warnings. What was the other one?
His other warning was about foreign alliances.
There we go. Good job. Thank you, sir. All right. So now let's go into John Adams. Coretta, who was John Adams?
John Adams was the second president and was also a vice president and was an author to the Declaration of Independence.
Can you say that one more time for us?
He was the second president of the United States. He also was a vice president and was one of the authors to the Declaration.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, Jay, can you get us number 71? Jay, you still with us?
He's answering in the chat, I think.
Oh. Okay. All right. The Sedition Acts were the prosecution and conviction of newspaper owners. Also, so Jay is right. The Sedition Acts were the prosecution of the conviction of newspaper owners, but also anybody that spoke bad about the government. Is everybody got me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then and add this to your notes. So you had the Sedition Acts. You also had the Alien Acts. The Alien Acts was talking about basically it was the first immigration policy where we limited how many people and who could come into the United States. This all happened under John Adams. Y'all follow me so far?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you guys put the Alien and Sedition. Those are sometimes called together, but those are two separate acts. And how did it influence the election of 1800, Jay? Who's them? Help who win the election? Yes, it helped the Democrat Republicans, Thomas Jefferson, to win the election because it made the country was very upset at John Adams, so it helped Thomas Jefferson win the election. And remember, back in this time period, Thomas Jefferson, whoever comes in second place becomes the vice president. Has everybody got me there?
Yeah.
That did not stop until the Constitution Amendment, but I forget which one it was off the top of my head. All right, so good, we good there. Number 72, let me get Elijah. Why was Thomas Jefferson seen as being hypocritical? Oh, wait, go back. Was this pre-party switch? Not yet. We're not talking about Democrats and Republicans like the way we see them today. They are totally different people right now. So we're not to the pre-party switch. That happens with LBJ in the 1960s. So we're not there yet. So everybody keep that in the back of your mind too, because it'll help you guys for the test and keep yourself in chronology. The idea of Democrats and Republicans as we see them today are totally different. Is everybody hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I asked Elijah to give us number 72. You still with us, man?
Yes.
Okay.
It was hypocritical because he wanted to make a stronger federal government, but didn't want people to talk bad about it. So he kind of took more rights away than what he gave.
That's half of it. The other part is too, remember, Thomas Jefferson was an anti-federalist. He didn't want to have a strong central government. But once he became president, he became very much having all the power in the central government, which led to the purchase of Louisiana. Is everybody got me so far? So Elijah got the first half, but the second half is that you went from a dude that did not want all the power to be in the central government, and then he ended up taking all the power as the central government because there's nothing in our Constitution that says the president to go out and purchase large pieces of land like the Louisiana Territory. So I'm kind of answering number 73. What is Louisiana purchase and how did it expand U.S. territory? I want to show you guys a map, so give me a second. I'm going to show you guys a map. I want to go back and forth. All right. So if we go and look at the Cliff Notes, I'm going to show you guys this map of Louisiana Territory. Oh, we're too far down. All right. So this is the United. Is everybody seeing this map? Okay.
Kind of.
Okay. I'm seeing how to make it a little bit bigger. This is in the Cliff Notes if you guys need to go look at it, because I'm gonna kind of show you the map of Louisiana. And is this a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all of the United States up to the Louisiana Purchase. And then what you have going on is you have Thomas Jefferson goes and buy this whole swath of land right here, which is basically the middle. Always know Louisiana Purchase because you remember Louisiana kind of sticks out into the Gulf of Mexico. He buys this piece of land, but there's nothing in the Constitution that says he can do that. He then sends out Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea to go and actually investigate the land, and this is the trail that they took. Does everybody follow me there?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is on the Cliff Notes is what I'm referring to here. So this is the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, and the important thing here, it doubled the size of the United States. So remember, this is the United States. Go back here. This is the United States pre-1803. This is the United States after the Louisiana Purchase and done by George Washington. By Thomas Jefferson. And he bought this from Napoleon, who was trying to get rid of this, and he was the leader of the French. Make sense, everybody? So that was number 73. All right, so now number 74. Let me get Brandon to answer that question. Talk about the War of 1812. Go ahead, number 74. Brandon, you still with us?
Did you say Brandon or Trenton?
Brandon.
Oh.
Okay. Let me get Marley. Can you give us number 74? Marley, you still with us?
Yes, hold on.
Okay. All right, folks. So the War of 1812 true to nationalism. All right, so the war, who has number 74 for us?
I do.
Go ahead. What's up, Sean?
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, man, I got you.
The War of 1812 helped contribute to growing nationalism in America by showing all of the European countries that America is willing to put its foot down with them if they decided to mess with us, like economically.
Okay. Now, also, let's go back to the reason that the war started was also because you had British ships that's basically imprisoning the American ships. So you might see a picture of, let me go back to the Cliff Notes. This is a picture of Bull O'Connor, in which you have Bull, he's getting fat off of eating American ships. Is there, I got me there? And this is called imprisonment. Basically, the British was taking American ships. And then the United States got their butts kicked in the War of 1812. It's typically known as the Second American Revolution. And the other big thing that happened because of it is because of the Star Spangled Banner that was written by Francis Scott Key. And this really helped develop a sense of national pride, because Francis Scott Key saw the American flag flying at Fort McPherson during the American War of 1812, and he wrote the whole Star Spangled Banner. And you know, as far as Star Spangled Banner, it's been in the news a lot with Colin Kaepernick, things of that nature. Okay, y'all good there with that now?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of background information there. So how did Madison's presidency contribute to the War of 1812? Anybody got me there on how did Madison to the War of 1812?
Madison succeeded with Jefferson in the 1808 presidential election. And then after all the protests happened and stuff, British attacks started happening, and then American shipping, and then all of that led to the War of 1812.
Right. So also is the idea of Madison, he kind of did not really see what was going on as being like a big issue, like a big issue either. Okay, so perfect. That's good. I already answered what is impressment. That's again taking military officers into. That's what the British were doing. How did the Napoleonic Wars assist the U.S. in winning the War of 1812? That's not going to be on your test. But what is the Mural Doctrine? That is going to be on your test. I definitely put that question on there. So let me get Brandon. Do you have the answer to what is the Mural Doctrine? Okay. Maya, do you have number 78? What was the Monroe Doctrine?
The Monroe Doctrine basically said that the European powers didn't belong to the Americas, and they kind of got to do and settle where they wanted, but other people couldn't come and settle on their land. I think that's kind of what I got from it.
Yes. The Monroe Doctrine basically said, hey, Europe, you stay out of the United States, you can no longer have colonies here in the not in the United States, but in the Western Hemisphere, meaning, you know, like the Americas. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Europe, you can no longer have colonies here in the Americas, North America, South America, so on and so forth. All right. Let me go to the Cliff Notes. I think I probably have a picture of that here somewhere. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna let you guys listen to this video about Monroe Doctrine too, real quick. Because all we have left is gonna be Standard 7. We can get to those pretty quickly, hopefully. So if you have not been called, think about Standard 7. I want to get those pretty quickly, but I do want to make sure y'all know about Monroe Doctrine. So I'm gonna play this video for you.
Significantly, it was a border issue that led to Monroe's defining moment in office. In December 1823, the president delivered a message to Congress and to the world. Ostensibly, he addressed a minor dispute between Russia and the United States over Alaska. But the speech contained a short paragraph that became his legacy. It stated, "The American continents are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers."
The Monroe Doctrine is our statement that we reject European countries coming in and trying to acquire further territorial gains in this hemisphere. You stay in your hemisphere, we'll stay in ours.
It wasn't until 1852 that people began calling it the Monroe Doctrine. By then, it was regarded as Monroe's greatest moment. And yet, he was not the true author.
That's a wonderful example of how the presidency is becoming the central branch of the government. And the president is becoming so important. The Monroe Doctrine is written by John Quincy Adams, Secretary of State. But because it happens in Monroe's administration, it's known as the Monroe Doctrine.
The end of James Monroe's presidency was a turning point in American political history. He was the last of the revolutionary generation, the last of the architects of the American Republic.
Okay, is everybody clear now on the Monroe Doctrine a little bit more? I need feedback, y'all. Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. I also want to go back, because I don't see a question here on it. Let's go back and talk about national infrastructure real quick, because I know you have a couple questions about that on your test. We talk about national infrastructure, where we really are talking about that more roads are being built In the North, because of the effects of the War of 1812, is becoming a lot more industrialized. So they're having more factories. Are you guys with me so far? A big thing that happened with that is going to be the development of the Erie Canal. And the Erie Canal, what it does is connect the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. So now we're able to transport goods between the Atlantic Ocean into the Great Lakes. And what that really does is it helped really create New York City as a boom town. So now, because of the trade grew when the Erie Canal made the city's harbors the link between European merchants and the great agriculture markets across the Appalachians from New York. So New York grew because of the Erie Canal. So that's something else you guys want to make sure you have in the back of your mind as far as the infrastructure of the United States. And this is all because of the War of 1812. Y'all good there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Eli Whitney in the Industrial Revolution, this is going to be more Unit 3. So you guys are not going to need to know about Eli Whitney, but we are going to need to know about Manifest Destiny. So let's talk about Manifest Destiny real quick, and then we got to get into these last few questions before class ends. So listen to this quick video, talk about Manifest Destiny.
Hi, my name is Matthew Pinsker, and I'm a historian. Here are a few things you need to know to sound smart about Manifest Destiny. People think of it as the official policy of territorial expansion, the idea that God had blessed America to become an ocean-bound republic in the 19th century. But the truth is, presidents and secretaries of state, they didn't use the phrase Manifest Destiny. It was the slogan of a journalist named John L. O'Sullivan, who invented it in 1845 when he was writing editorials about the annexation of Texas and about the boundary dispute with Britain over the Oregon Territory. He said it was blessed by Providence. It was the manifest destiny of the country to become this continental power. It immediately became controversial at the time. The phrase itself was used more by critics than supporters as a way to ridicule expansionism. Whigs and others opposed it. A lot of Northerners thought it was code for spreading slavery. In fact, a lot of manifest destiny advocates, people who believed in territorial expansion, they felt like they had failed. They didn't think the country was spreading widely enough. They wanted all of Mexico. They wanted Canada. They wanted the entire continent to be part of the American Republic. The phrase actually kind of disappeared from American political life until the 1890s, when it was reborn as part of the drive to make the United States a global power. Some people began to talk about expanding into the Caribbean or the Pacific. This is the era of the Spanish-American War. And that's when Manifest Destiny became ever more popular. But the irony is, by that point, John L. O'Sullivan, he had died in 1895, and when he died, his obituaries didn't even mention the fact that he was the author of the phrase. He had sort of struggled and fallen into obscurity by that point. It took decades for historians to recover his role. And it's taken a lot of time for people to realize that the policy of Manifest Destiny was really a contested one that was controversial at its beginning and remains controversial today.
Young people in large numbers came out and joined what became known as the Red Guards. These largely terroristic organizations were used to publicly humiliate, assault, and in some cases, even murder political
All right, is there
enemies
any questions
of
about
Mao
Manifest
and the
Destiny,
Communist
y'all?
Party.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so now let's get into Standard 7. We got about 12 minutes to get this knocked out. So please, if you do not know the answer to this, just say, I don't know. Okay? All right. Stockdale, how did Andrew Jackson's presidency expand voting rights?
Well, basically, his presidency allowed states to bring more ease the requirements of voting for white men, so more white men without land could vote.
So this is what's called as white male suffrage. So now all white men in the United States can vote. Before Andrew Jackson, you had to own land. So keep this in mind. Me and my brother was talking about this yesterday. If you want to flourish in the United States and our economy, you got to own land. Forget renting. If you can buy land and own a house, that's how you become powerful. Is everybody got me there? That's Econ 101 for the United States. Owning is always far more important than anything else. Okay. Number 80. Let me get that to be Brandon, number 80. What is Jackson democracy and how can it be synthesized?
A movement
ahead.
for more democracy in American government.
So how can that be synthesized to modern day? So like, you're right. Jackson democracy is now when you have more people being involved. How can you maybe say that's related to today?
Uh,
This is opinion based.
I'm not sure, but maybe
Okay.
wanted greater rights.
Yes, you're right, and that's kind of the idea that more people have rights. The other thing you want to make sure you guys remember, if you guys look on the screen, is about as far as Jackson democracy is that Jackson was typically seen as being King Andrew Jackson. So a lot of people saw him as being like, if you look at his foot at the very bottom left, he's standing on the Constitution. He says, "Born to command, had I been consulted, King Andrew the First of a veto memory." So basically saying he was a king. If you guys remember, someone just said we had PTSD from the Great Britain War, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep that in mind, because what we're trying to say here is that we don't want another king, and yet Andrew Jackson, who's our president, now becomes king, basically, in the way he was doing things.
Doesn't it
All right.
synthesize to
Well,
modern day by like showing about like the masculine privilege they had and like the racial prejudice of it?
that's what I was about to go to next. Yes, there you go. That is it. Say it one more time for everybody can hear you again.
It translated to like today's times because of the masculine privilege it had and the racial prejudice it had.
That is correct. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 81 with the nullification crisis. All right, we're going to go to Austin. Do you have that for us? Number 81 with the nullification crisis?
Oh yeah, I have it. Hold on. Just give me a second.
Okay.
The nullification crisis, it related to the debate of states' rights by um
You're doing good.
it gave states' rights the right to block and the enforcement of a federal law.
Yes. And it was basically also talking about how South Carolina was threatening to secede from the United States until Andrew Jackson sent in the military. And also because of John C. Calhoun, he was able to negotiate and keep things kind of subtle to where is that it didn't happen. But this is one of the major things, because now we're starting to talk about events leading to the Civil War. This is one of the background events that led to the Civil War. Is everybody with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so now next thing we're gonna do is talk about now. Anybody can answer these questions moving forward. Number 82, the Indian Removal Act, and why was it allowed? Anybody got that? The Indian Removal Act and why
I'll
was it
answer
allowed?
it.
Go ahead. We'll
Like,
go, Gia.
It's when they removed the Indians from their land by force, but the Worcester versus the Indians didn't. It was illegal to do that, but they did it anyways.
And that's gonna be on your EOC. Worcester v. Georgia is gonna be there because, of course, it deals with Georgia. And the Indian Removal Act is also known for the Trail of Tears, where the United States removed Indians right here in Cherokee County, a little bit north of Cobb County. They moved them all the way to the Great Plains, and they made them walk there. There was no cars. There's no nothing else. You had women being pregnant, having kids on the side of the road. It was a horrible situation, but it's called the Trail of Tears, where we marched Native Americans straight to the Great Plains. Okay. The American system and how it interconnects the industry in the United States, I talked about that already, as far as speaking to the Erie Canal in New York City. Is everybody got me? That's number 83, New York City and everything like that. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who got number 84? Who was Henry Clay? Anybody got number? Who's Henry Clay? Anybody got Henry Clay?
He was an American attorney and statesman who represented Kentucky.
There you go. Now, why do we care about him? You got that?
Can you answer that, please?
Yeah, I got you then. All right, so Henry Clay, like I said, he was an attorney, he was a statesman. The big thing about Henry Clay is really talking about the idea of infrastructure and what he did for the United States. Everybody got me there?
Yeah.
Okay. How did economics contribute to the debate over state rights? Because we talk about what states would be able to have slaves, what states would not be able to have slaves. Also, we got into the issue of who had more money. You had the South, who was more plantation based, and then you had the North, who wasn't. The next thing you guys, when we talk about the Temperance Movement, let's go look at the Temperance Movement. You had a couple of templates. You had the Abolition Movement. The Abolition Movement was really led in the 1820s, where you had both women and other Northerners who was, okay, let me back this up. Everybody with me? Because I'm trying to do things fast. All right. So the Temperance Movement was a product of the Second Great Awakening. And what the Second Great Awakening was another religious revival. This time it happened in the 1800s, which means it would be in the it happened in the 1800s, which means it would be in the 19th century. And we started to now question societal issues. So if you look at the idea of societal issues, we're questioning about why do we have slaves? Why do women not have the right to vote? Things of that nature. Why does everybody have public school? So the abolition movement really came out of the 1820s, where you have people question the idea like, why do we still have African Americans or Africans as slaves? You had a couple key people. You had William Lloyd Garrison. He was a writer and he was an important abolitionist. He founded an abolitionist society, and he published an anti-slavery newspaper. You have Frederick Douglass, who was a former slave. He worked with Garrison and also traveled a lot too, giving maybe a lot of speeches and on behalf of African slaves. I don't like to use the African American. I really got to change this because they wasn't necessarily in the sense of African American. They was considered to be citizens yet. You also had the Grimke sisters, who was Sarah and Angelina. They were Southern women who lectured publicly against the evils of slavery. And then you also had the Nat Turner's Rebellion that happened in Virginia. And Nat Turner, he was a Southern slave. He was a preacher, and he basically got an omen from God, the way the story says, that told him he should go back and revolt against that. The federal government was able to stop that rebellion, but he killed a lot of people in Virginia before he was actually ultimately killed and captured. Okay. You also had the other major movements as far as education, as far as public schools, who was at one point, public schools was only allowed for the wealthy and rich. Oh my God, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going fast. Let me go back. I can look at names here. Horace Mann. I got to look at the vocabulary. Horace Mann is the individual that really pushed the idea of public education. And then you had Elizabeth Stanton and Harriet Beecher Stowe, who talked about women's rights. And as far as the temperance, as far as like all women should be able to have the right to vote and things of that nature. Temperance is really going with the idea that where it says lips that touch liquor shall not touch ours, meaning that a lot of women was tired of their men going out drinking and then coming back home and then beating them up. But what happened with Elizabeth Stanton and Harriet Beecher Stowe, what they did is that they had something that was called the Declaration of Sentiments at the Seneca Falls Convention. And the Declaration of Sentiments was literally a model of the Declaration of Independence that now included women and included women's rights. That's everything. All right. So you guys, I'm gonna save this recording. I'm gonna post this to the classroom. Let me go back to make sure everybody sees how to do that real quick. So when you go into your digital sessions, it's gonna be right here in lesson resources. It's gonna be down here where it says session resources. That's where you guys be able to find the videos. And what we did here is go through the whole study guide. Y'all, that study guide is everything will be on your test. I also posted for you guys in the classroom, a practice quizy game for you guys to get some repetition with that. Okay. The other option you got is to go through the Cliff Notes. As you guys saw a second ago, I'm drawing from the Cliff Notes. I have videos in there. I have pictures in there to help you go and read. As far as the abolition movement, this is a really kind of good video that talks about abolition movement to the Black Lives Matter movement. As far as the connection between the two, pretty good arguments there. You also have talking more about nullification crisis. You're not feeling very comfortable with that. And again, John C. Calhoun argued with President Andrew Jackson about that. All right. So that's everything. You guys got a couple things to work with. Now, as far as this homework is not going to be graded, but I did want to give you guys options on ways to review. So go back to your digital sessions. Give me 1 second, guys. I know we're over in time, and it always happens this way. If you go to lesson assignments, you have an option. You can do these vocabulary videos, which covers Jamestown and More Perfect Union, Tecumseh, I can never say his name, Indian Revolution, Industrial Revolution, Indian Removal, Sacagawea, and Jefferson and Hamilton. What you guys be doing now is just watching the video, read response and lyrics. You want to do that one. You also have the option of doing some Nearpods. I posted a few Nearpods here you can do. Let this come up. You have a choice. You can do the Nearpods on James Madison, Hamilton, and Jefferson. I also got one here talking about Andrew Jackson, and also one on James Monroe. These are all videos, and one on George Washington. These are all videos where you have to do interaction, answer questions as you go through. So you have some methods to study, but y'all, we went through that whole study guide. Do whatever you think is the best way to help you prepare for the test, okay? Questions, concerns, anything y'all got questions about? If you have no questions, go ahead and start logging out. That is basically our class, but I'm here for answering any questions people may got.
Are the vocabularies a grade, or are they just for our own practice?
They are just practice to get y'all ready for the test. None of this stuff that I just showed you is going to be for actual grade. It's all to help you practice. What I am going to do is this, though. Say a person gets less than a 75% on the test tomorrow, I'm going to see, what do you do for homework to study? I want to see that work. So do something. If it just means you go back and maybe rewrite the notes that we did today based on the study guide, that's fine. But the Nearpods and the vocabulary is only there just to help you guys out. It's not going to be a required assignment for a grade.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, no problem. Anybody else? I'm going to give you like less than a minute because I had to go do something before third block starts. Any other questions? All right, you guys. Be blessed. Take it easy and good job today.